Hello, welcome to our Wednesday devotional. On Wednesday nights, we normally have a Bible study during the time when the kids are in Awana and the other teenagers are in Teen Impact, about a 30-minute Bible study, and we also have time, try to allow time every week for some testimonies of praise, thanksgiving, encouragement, and then often we hear reports about missionaries from their missionary letters. But last week was very interesting in that two or three of the people gave testimonies about how they'd given out gospel tracts. One told about a certain tract that we have that she just loves, and she says it's easy to give out, and she has her way to give it out. It has to do with if God gives you lemons, or if life gives you lemons. And she has an easy way to give that out. Another one said, my favorite tract, and she began to tell which one was her favorite tract and why she liked it and was able to give it out. We really need to distribute gospel tracts all the time. I announced on Sunday that March is to be Tract Month. And I want to give everyone who is in our services on Sunday morning at least one tract to give out that week. And if you say take a couple of hundred people, each one gives one tract a week, you're giving 1,000 tracts out in a month. And that's very easy to do. In fact, I thought about this as I read from Luke 16 last week. Luke 16 has many stories, but one of the stories is the sad story about the rich man and Lazarus. Lazarus was a beggar that laid at the rich man's gate and begged, but when he died, the angels came and took him to paradise. The rich man died, the Bible says, and he went to hell, Luke 16. While he's in hell, there's a conversation, and you might remember the story or read the story today if you have time. But the rich man who is in hell was tormented in the flames. And he cries out and says in verse 37, send someone to my father's house, for I have 5 brethren. He didn't want his brothers to go to hell. He wanted someone to go and tell them. We need to make witnessing a top priority in our lives. If we can do nothing else, we can give out tracts. It's an easy way. We can leave them at a restaurant when we're leaving after we've eaten there, with a good tip, of course. Or we can ask a question that gives us the opportunity to give out a gospel tract. Or we can just make that a goal. One lady told me recently that when she was a child, they were missionaries, and they would tie tracts to candy. And when they drove down the street, they would roll their windows down and give out this candy and a gospel tract to people. Now, I'm not sure whether that's an effective way or not, but it's easy to give out a gospel tract. We have at church, we have a variety of tracts, and we try to keep a good variety and a good stock of those tracts so that you can give them out. If you're listening to me today and you're a shut-in, perhaps someone can pick up some tracts for you and take them to you so you can have them to give out as you have the opportunity. But we need to realize hell is real. We need to realize these people who are not saved are not going to get saved by accident. Someone needs to approach them. Someone needs to tell them. They need to read the gospel. Some of our tracts are like cartoons, and they read very easily. Some of them are more detailed. It depends upon you, and it depends upon whom you're giving it to. I conducted a funeral last week of a man that I did not know. I found out that some of our men knew him, and that one of our men told me, he said, I witnessed to him several times, and he never responded. Well, that was sad, because I wondered if that man had ever been saved. After the funeral service, after I'd presented the gospel and said, this is what it takes for you to be saved and for you to be prepared for this day and for you to go to heaven, a man came up to me, a man with a ponytail, a man that did not look like an usher in our church, came up to me and said, "Pastor," he said, "I'm saved, and I know that man was saved. I witnessed to him, and one day in his garage he prayed and asked the Lord to save him." We need to witness. Gospel tracts are a great way to do that. I encourage you to get involved this month in Tract Month. And if you like it, you can do it all year. God bless you. Have a great day.